Not all locations in the world are created equal, and if you're paying attention to what's happening around the globe today, you definitely don't want to get stuck in certain parts of the world. Hi, my name is Tain. Over 25 years ago, I set out to explore the world, specifically places that would remain free if North America suddenly fell into chaos. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 most important reasons that the Americas are already and will continue to be the place to be if chaos comes to North America. The first reason is not obvious, and almost nobody thinks of this, but many parts of Latin America are just now industrializing. Now, I don't mean that they've never seen automobiles. I don't mean that they don't have machinery. I'm saying that on a large scale, you haven't seen the benefits of industrialization come to these places. In various corners of Latin America, capital is finding its way in, and a little bit of prosperity gives rise to this incredible work ethic and hunger to make their lives better. You see it in Mexico. I saw it in a little pueblo in Guatemala, of all places. And of course, the big growth area was Panama. Panama Canal is the goose that lays golden eggs. The country continues to grow at a 6 or 7 or 8% GDP clip, which is unheard of in a developed economy, and they don't show any signs of slowing down. The amount of cranes and skyscrapers and continued development, they're nowhere near done growing. This industrialization that we take for granted, where everything is automated and everything's heavy machinery and everything is done according to the principles and developments of the Industrial Revolution, which of course is over 150 years old in the West, is now hitting parts of Latin America where it's delivering its gift of a tremendous upsurge in wealth. Most people today are trying to deindustrialize. If you look at what's happened in Germany, if you look at what's happening in Europe, the argument over green energy and whether or not this is a good idea, the kinds of policies that are being floated are going to greatly reduce people's standard of living. In Latin America, people are just getting a taste of the benefits of industrialization really kicking into high gear. And when you find a pocket of Latin America where this is happening at scale, at speed, you can really make massive gains. I'll tell you about that in just a second. The second reason I like the Americas as the place to be for the remainder of the 2020s is simply because you're welcome there. If you don't have roots in Asia, if you don't have relatives living in Thailand or the Philippines, you're not going to that part of the world. Why? Because you're very much an outsider. At first glance, everybody knows that you're not from there. If you go into Costa Rica, if you go into various parts of Mexico, if you go into Argentina and Uruguay and Peru, any area of Latin America is going to be very accustomed to seeing people staying even for extended periods in Latin America. You're not going to be unwelcome in most of these places. Go take a trip somewhere. Go see how it feels to you when you show up someplace. Are people sullen and hostile, or do they seem a little standoffish? If you can speak a few words of the local language, do they respond quickly and warm up to you? This is a very good test. But by and large, in Latin America, you're going to be welcome wherever you go. And this is a big advantage at a time when movement of peoples between areas may not be that easy. The third thing that nobody really talks about, the corruption in Latin America is happening at a level that's good for the individual. People understand how bad the corruption has gotten in North American governments. Our governments are doing things that nobody wants. They're starting wars and debasing the currency and doing all kinds of shenanigans to spy on their citizenry and all the rest. None of that stuff is really going on with governments in Latin America. They don't have any interest in starting wars with people abroad. They can't print their currency to infinity to debase it and destroy your life savings. And also, their ability to spy on their citizens is greatly limited. They don't have those kind of resources. They don't have that kind of inclination. Will it eventually come? Probably, but you don't need to worry about it now, and that's the point. When I say corruption works for the individual, what I mean is, imagine bribing a cop in Virginia. You get pulled over and you offer a bribe to get out of a ticket. This kind of thing would almost certainly land you in jail, but yet we know that the corruption at the highest level is astronomical. The sums of money that buy off politicians in places like Washington are truly staggering, and yet even though this is going on, there's nothing you or I can do about it. We certainly can't stop it, and we certainly don't benefit from it. This is how the system works in North America. In Latin America, it's the opposite. Yes, there's corruption at the highest level. Only a fool would believe otherwise. But you can also buy your way out of problems very easily. You can pay an extra fee to go to the front of the line when you need to get paperwork done or when you need to deal with officialdom. I've been pulled over and had interactions with Mexican police that required me to pay a small fee on the spot to avoid bigger trouble going downtown to the station and getting a ticket or whatever it was. And it's all very accepted. It's done with a wink and a nod and a smile and a have a nice next day. And as long as you're not too obtuse about it, that kind of corruption can really work in your favor. I once read a story about a famous bank robber in the United States who was asked why he robbed banks. He said, because that's where the money is. The fourth reason that the Americas are going to continue to be the place to be is that's where money from North America is going. People from North America are looking to buy property and benefit from all the benefits in Central and South America, and your ability to get in ahead of that tidal wave of money as people continue to migrate into the southern portion of the Americas means that you can have massive gains. I'll give you one example. I bought property on a lake in Central America called Lake Atitlan. This was the year 2000. That property is now worth approximately 80 times what I paid. I essentially had a place to live on a beautiful lake, almost like living in a national park, and enjoy all of that for 2.5 decades and then sell for an 8,000% profit at the end. So this is happening. It's happening in the Riviera Maya, Cabo. It's happening now in Argentina. And again, this is all a function of capital starting to flow into places that have been starved for it for many, many years, many decades of struggle and real subsistence level living, now getting a taste of money that's flowing out of North America. And if you find a pocket like this, you end up with the kind of gains that I've experienced, many, many thousands of percent. But the fifth and final reason that the Americas will continue to be the place to be is summed up very eloquently in this single graphic. What you're looking at is the largest tract of land on Earth with the lowest population density and also the greatest amount of food production and easy availability of water. So when you add all those things up, a huge amount of land, very low population density, easy access to plenty of water, food production at the local level, corrupt governments that are basically incapable of hassling you even if they wanted to, and that you have all of that wrapped up in a situation where capital is flowing out. If you get in ahead of the rush, then you end up being one of the people who really, really benefits from the tsunami of money that's coming down, and you can land huge investment gains as this trend plays out. In the next video, we're going to break down the debate on whether or not you're better off staying put and riding out trouble in a place that you're familiar with, or whether you're better off relocating semi-permanently to see how all this plays out, or something in between. And if you'd like to get started creating your own Plan B, I put a free download below this video called the Bulletproof Plan B that talks to you about the 4 major things that you need to consider as you're creating your own Plan B for surviving the 2020s and coming out on the other side. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you in the next video.